Welcome to the session, Cityworks mobile apps, new features and functionality. Today, we have with us Giselle Scoville and Kelly Collins. Both are technical trainers with Cityworks. Giselle has been with Cityworks since 2018, and as a technical trainer, Giselle helps Cityworks clients, partners, and internal staff to understand software-specific methods within our premier asset management software. Her training and subject matter area focuses on end user and administrative lessons for Cityworks Office, Mobile, Style, and Respond. Giselle received her BS in Geography and Biology from the University of Wisconsin-Platteville in 2016. And Kelly received his education from the University of Mary in Brunswick, North Dakota, where he studied physical education and health. He's been an employee of Cityworks since March of 2017, and Kelly was hired as a technical trainer right off the bat and has spent all of his time with the company in that role. He trains on many topics related to Cityworks software, both on the AMS side and on the PLL side. And he focuses primarily on presenting courses on the PLL side now with the software that has helped develop many of its courses. Kelly also helps teach and develop specialized plugin courses such as Storeroom and Respond. So before we get started with the presentation, I'd like to address a couple just housekeeping items here. If you'd like to leave a comment or pose a question, go over to the left-hand side of the screen and click that Live Now button, and that'll open the sessions menu where you can click on questions. And we'll try to address as many questions as we can as time permits. We've left a little bit of time in this one for questions at the end. If you're having any technical difficulties, you can see the little question mark icon down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Go ahead and click that. You should get some ideas for troubleshooting. If you leave the session, if you want to leave the session, which we hope you don't want to do, but if you need to, please use the Leave Session up in the button up in the top right-hand corner, and it'll take you back to the conference lobby. And we really hope that you don't close the browser, because that can cause a lot of problems getting back into the conference later on. And then please don't forget to visit our ratings and reviews module from the navigation bar. We really value your feedback and your input, and we try to take all of that and make our sessions better in the future. So with that, I'll turn it over to Giselle and let her take over from here.
Thank you, Rich. I'd like to welcome everyone to our session. As mentioned, my name is Giselle, and I'm joined by my colleague today. Before we get started with our mobile apps information, we would like to give our attendees the opportunity to read over our Cityworks Safe Harbor Statement. This is to inform you that all information presented here is intended for informational purposes only and should not be considered with any contracts moving forward. What you can expect today from our Cityworks mobile breakout session is an introductory overview of our Cityworks mobile native apps, as well as some highlighted functionality that's newer to our most recent release of Cityworks Mobile. Let's stop and talk about Cityworks Mobile. It is supported on iOS and Android devices. The apps are developed within the platforms respectively and can be utilized on mobile devices that support iOS and Android systems. An important thing to consider when purchasing and deploying mobile devices is to make sure that it has Wi-Fi connectivity. A crucial component of Cityworks Mobile is its ability to push information when connected wirelessly to an internet connection. Cityworks Mobile is designed for users in the field. Cityworks Mobile is installed with a lightweight database that offers remote access by users in the field. It is also designed with a streamlined interface to help simplify workflows as our users are maneuvering through them. Local changes will store within the lightweight database on the mobile device. This is how mobile allows your end users to work disconnected from the internet. Once Wi-Fi connection has been made, all updates can then get pushed to your Cityworks database. Cityworks Mobile allows you to manage and even create AMS and PLL work activities. You can view and update existing PLL cases, work orders, service requests, and inspections. Cityworks Mobile offers the ability to also create brand new work records, service requests, work orders, and inspections. The last overview point that we would like to accentuate regarding Cityworks Mobile is that it allows you to seamlessly launch ArcGIS applications directly from the app itself. This allows your organization to extend field capabilities. This means that you can work with your data beyond the scope of what Cityworks Mobile offers. You can integrate your Cityworks site with Collector for ArcGIS, Field Maps for ArcGIS, Navigator, and more. That was our quick overview of Cityworks Mobile and the positives that it offers to your organization. Next, I'll hand the time over to my colleague so that he can discuss some highlighted functionality that is going to be available at Cityworks Mobile version 10. So Kelly, I hand the time to you.
Thanks, Giselle. Yeah, so there are some new functionality that comes out. This functionality you're going to find in our mobile native apps version 10, and then also in our 9.1, 9.2 releases that recently have been pushed out as well into our app stores and Google Play stores, as you can find on your iOS and Android devices. So this is going to be a quick, brief overview, like Giselle said, of our new functionality. So let's go ahead and go to that next slide, Giselle, and dive in. So the first thing we want to talk about is work activities can be opened in ArcGIS field maps through the share icon. Hopefully you all were taking the opportunity to join Carl's session, that covered this a little bit more extensively about how to be able to start to utilize ArcGIS field maps within our Cityworks environments and how that works. But a brief overview of that, if you didn't attend that session, is Cityworks 10 for Android and iOS offer that one-tap access, as Giselle said, so we can seamlessly jump back and forth between that app, that ArcGIS Esri application, and our mobile native app. ArcGIS Field Maps is the all-in-one app that streamlines your staff's data collection and editing workflows and allows them to report their locations in real time, as well as all that information that can be displayed in Cityworks in real time or utilized with Cityworks data in the ArcGIS platform, as Cityworks, as we know, is a GIS-centric platform. So as you can see here, this next slide shows our screen displays of how that looks in both the Android and iOS devices. The screenshots on the left show how you would access that seamlessly, the menu that you can see on the Android device and the menu that you can see on the iOS device, as you can jump into that connected Esri application. Then on the right, you can see how that Esri application will look there in that little screenshot. So now we can go ahead and hop to the next slide, Giselle. So the second one that we're going to talk about really quickly is work order costs can now be associated to multiple assets or tasks. Previously, costs on a work order could only be associated to assets or tasks. Couldn't be done to both. This left a really big data gap when you're starting to analyze cost, right? Because you do at times want to associate that cost not only to the task, so you can analyze how much are your tasks costing you to perform, but you also want to assign that to your asset so you can see how much that asset is costing you throughout its life cycle. Associating costs to both those assets and tasks is available now with all three parts of our cost management, such as labor, equipment, and materials. In the next slide, we're going to go ahead and see a video of how that functionality used to look. So as we can see here, the previous functionality, as we come in and we start to select, you'll notice that every time I select on the asset or the task, it'll automatically switch that check mark for us. Now, if we hop over to our current functionality and we start that video, we can see we're going to come in and we're going to start to adjust some information on our tasks that we're working at. And we're going to add in labor. We selected both our asset and our task, and now we're adding in the labor to that, allowing us to be able to capture that labor cost on both that asset and that task and have a better cost analysis summary later on. So let's go ahead and hop to the next slide so we can talk about our next feature. So our next feature that we have is our sync-enabled feature services in web maps. These are now supported within Cityworks 10 and Cityworks 9, like I talked about a little bit earlier on those dot versions. So Cityworks 10 for Android and iOS can download sync-enabled feature services, including those from web maps. So any changes made synchronize once the device is connected to the internet. As Giselle said before, there is the opportunity for our mobile native apps to work in a disconnected environment. But in order for you to get those real-time updates and that information to be pushed, you do have to perform that sync in a connected environment. So any changes made will then be pushed via that sync function. And there's some tools that we have embedded, so you can do a full sync or you can do a partial sync, which will adjust the time that's required for that sync to be connected within your environment. This offers editing of live data as you go ahead and have that connected to the internet and allowing you to be able to have those web maps being supported and utilized within the mobile native app itself. So let's look at that. So here we can see a screenshot of our map services that we have there within Cityworks Designer within Office. And this gives us the opportunity, as you can see on the highlighted service in our service definitions panel, or tab, better said, that we have that sync features layers in mobile checkbox that now appears for you. This will allow us to be able to start to consume that web map within that service and is set up within this manner. It's a very beneficial feature that allows us to be able to start to use that, that mobile web map function that we have.
Thanks, Kelly. So those are the new features and functionalities that you can look forward to within Cityworks Mobile at version 10. You will also experience these functionalities at Cityworks Mobile 9.1. We're happy to share these functionality items with you. And I'd also like to present some information for you. My name again is Giselle Scoville. I was married this year, so my email hasn't changed quite yet, but email the address you see on the screen and you will be able to contact me. If you're looking for additional information on Cityworks Mobile, specifically training, please visit our page on learn.trimble.com. So if we have questions, we make sure to prepare this presentation to leave time for questions if they're out there. So I'll leave it to our host to moderate the remainder of our time.
We do have a number of questions. Let's see if we can find one. We've already answered a couple in the list here.
Awesome.
Ross Collicutt asks about linking in the Android app wasn't working for him and it was being redeveloped. Is there a timeline? So we'll have to look that up. We don't have access to that like at this particular point in time. We'll have to do a little bit of research and we can address that after the session here. Marlene Martinez asks, do you need a user 2 license for field map? Some of our field staff are using it for a viewer. They don't need to do any edits. Is this possible to utilize it with the user 1 license in Portal? I believe if you're not doing any sort of edits, you should be able to use a level 1 or a type 1 to be able to just view data. We do have a session that was just last period that was talking about the field app from Esri, and we can get with Jeff Shaner, who is the product lead for that, and we can ask that question of him and get you a definitive answer on that one.
And we can reach out to Carl too, because Carl's really heavily involved in all of that,
sure.
and be able to pull that in. But I would agree with you, Rich. I believe that because of that, no need to be able to edit. That's typically what a user 1 license is for. So I would assume that that would be correct in that thinking as well, is that to use the field maps for ArcGIS, you would only need a user 1 license if all you're doing is viewing, not editing.
Right. Another question that I think is good to bring to the group is what version of Cityworks is compatible with Mobile 10? We answered that in the chat, but that's going to be version 15.7 in any of the service packs that are provided with that. We did speak a little bit about version 9.1, and that would be in the 15.6 line of the product.
Absolutely correct.
Let's see, there was a question about changes in the requirement of Android, say like a version of Android that a tablet wasn't able to upgrade to. Michael Marcus, let me do a little bit of research on that one. We'll have to get back to you on that question. We do try to develop for the most current versions of the OSs that are involved. So there are times that we have to take into account the Esri runtime that's used to develop the applications. And sometimes those dictate what versions of the operating systems on the tablets can be used. And we try to stay up to date with Esri's products as well as trying to stay current on our own for security reasons. So let me double check on and get you a little bit more.
But I do know that, Rich, I do know that is true because Giselle actually just recently needed to purchase a new Android tablet because her tablet was not compatible with Cityworks 10. So there are times like that your OS, your tablet may be older and your OS doesn't have the ability to update to the correct version to be able to then link to the correct version of Cityworks that we're talking about. So that is something to be aware of as you are going through. But typically, like Rich just said, if you have a current version, like a tablet that's maybe 2 years old, 3 years old, you're typically not going to be running into that issue if you stay pretty current on your hardware as well.
And from a support standpoint, we have noticed that the Apple devices, even though they are more expensive, do tend to stay viable for a little bit longer period of time. So that may be something to keep in mind. It may not be an option for everybody, but it's something that it just doesn't seem that the tablet gets deprecated as quickly as maybe on the Android side.
Right.
And maybe something that you want to keep in mind as you're doing your cost analysis when purchasing is that the life cycle of a iOS device might be a little bit longer than the life cycle of an Android device.
Right. Are Esri base maps available for use in mobile? The answer to that is absolutely yes. We can support just about every service type that we can use in Office or in Respond. We can also do that within mobile, and we also have the option of doing mobile map packages and tiled map packages for use offline. So there are a number of things that are available with the mobile devices.
Well, and especially now with this integration with web maps, this really opens up the services that can be utilized within the mobile native apps and how much we can actually really consume. And there's some of the limitations that we saw previously in the mobile native apps are now kind of disappearing, and those gaps are closing significantly.
Yeah, it's nice that the web map acts as kind of a wrapper around some of those services that we may not be able to do natively, but we can handle through a web map. That's correct. How long will the version 9 app be supported? The version 9 app will be supported for as long as we support version 15.6. We have a a product lifecycle document that is now available on mycityworks.com, and that kind of provides the policy that we've taken on to try to inform everybody of when we will start retiring some products. But as long as 15.6 is a viable product, we're going to continue working with version 9 and supporting that.
Which I think in general, it's like 3 versions that we support back. So,
and I believe we're supporting back just a little bit further. There was a recent update to that at the, I want to say probably about mid-May. So we are reaching back a little bit further on some things.
nice.
I think we covered Charles Taylor's question for what version Cityworks apps 9.1 and 10 will support. 9.1 is 15.6, 10 is 15.7.
Correct.
So we're getting to the end of our time here. So any other questions that we weren't able to get to, we will definitely reach out. These are all being recorded, and we will try to reach out to you specifically and provide those answers. So
Absolutely.
I want to thank Giselle and Kelly for the fantastic job, and thank you all for attending. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Rich.